Alright, everybody. Thank you for coming back. This is flOw Part 3. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so this is the third creature that we're using now. I mentioned before that it looks a lot like a dolphin. The first one kind of just looks like a centipede. The second one ends up looking kind of like a jellyfish. This one looks like a dolphin, and its special is just the dash. You have to watch out for your tail though, so that tells you how many times you can dash. So how many little segments of tail you have is how many dashes you can go, if I remember correctly. Let's go ahead and get started. So with this one, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's the most difficult to eat with because its mouth is very small compared to other ones. So you have to be pretty precise about eating. It's already naturally relatively pretty fast, so I don't really feel like I needed the dash. I also don't want to waste it if I don't have to. Alright. Oops, that was accidental. Alright. So, cannibalism. I don't remember how the upgrades work on this guy. Because the segments are not permanent. I am observing any changes that occur, but all I can really tell is that the actual body is getting bigger. I'm not seeing any particularly significant advancements here, so I'm just gonna keep eating. See, I gotta get it just right to eat with this guy. See, I missed that even though it was close. But let's keep looking. Don't think there's much left in this one. If anything, yeah. Let's go down. Ew. You scur. Oh, we still have quite a few. This is a pretty big boy. Ah, I got him. Alrighty. I guess I really should have started with this, but if you're watching this now, this is Mario. I've been playing video games my whole life, as far back as I can remember. There's always been something about games that has caught my attention. My earliest memories of games think it was my cousin's. I think it was a Windows 95 computer. I think he might have upgraded it to Windows 98 eventually. Which is why I only really remember the 98. But yeah, no. I mean, I remember vaguely, very vaguely. I have memories of there being a computer that we had that was almost always locked up. Not like literally locked up, but you know, not available for everybody's use. I don't know what operating system it had, but I love to mess with the screensavers. So there was one screensaver that was like the old Windows Starfield screensaver. But on that one, the Windows one, after going back to it, you know, it's just, you know, the dots and the movement. If you speed it up, you know, the dots are just moving faster. There's no like motion blur. On the one that I vaguely remember as a kid is if you sped it up, it would the stars would start streaking. And so I like to pretend like that was, you know, doing warp speed in Star Wars. And I was obviously a little kid, didn't know what he was doing. I'm sure I would mess around with some settings that I wasn't supposed to, which is why they would get upset with me messing with it. Ooh, why are these yellow? Oh, it's poison. I remember now. That's the next buddy, I think. Trying to eat the poisoned ones, because then you can't eat. But that's the very earliest memory off the top of my head of me interacting with any kind of computer or game of sorts. Eventually they moved out. I'm not sure if it was that computer that was taken with them when they moved out, but eventually they had a computer up in their own house. And that's where my more concrete memories of games really started. The earliest game that I can think of was some kind of 2D. I mean, everything was probably 2D back then. But it was some kind of like adventure game. I've never been able to find it. I'm not sure if I'm even describing it correctly when I do, but I remember it being a blue character that would go into pyramids, or, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure if it was pyramids, it could have been something else entirely, and that's what my brain remembers it as. But you would explore like ruins and stuff, and then, you know, that was the level. I got through the puzzle maze. I'm not sure if you collected anything along the way. If you did, I don't remember what it was, or if I was even aware that that was something you did. Anyway, that's the earliest game I can remember. Yeah, I mean, I've tried looking up descriptions on Google and stuff, but I've never really landed on it. I'll have to go through my abandonware and just go through all the list of games just to see if maybe I'll bump into it or something. But I remember the main character, the character that used being blue, and my mind keeps wanting to think that it was a cat. I'm not sure if that's a false memory or not either. Again, we're talking, I was little, 3-4 years old, maybe 5, but I don't remember having been in school yet. That's very, very early childhood memory. Yeah, check that out. After that, ooh, what's this fighting back? Oh, they also refill my. Okay, I see. So if they eat one of my little red ones, my tail bits replace it. Have to be careful because this guy's gonna want to eat me. So you gotta be quick. This one's biting back, so I'm trying to be careful. I've got to use it to my advantage at some point. Get him, get him. Yeah, so with this one, I don't think you can do the pattern trophy, since there is no really discernible pattern that you can make. You know, you just eat the upgrades and that slowly makes your little dolphin bigger. It doesn't really add any kind of flair to the tail bits. Where was I? Can't remember where I was going with that. Eat the upgrades, eat the upgrades. I can worry about the little guys later. Whoops. Didn't mean to grab the blue one. There's the red one. But my next memories start to happen once we're at my cousin's house, I think. Once they moved in and got settled in, either he got a new computer or if it was that one. Eventually he put in Windows 98. And this is where my earliest memories of actually playing through games that I can still remember now. Off the top of my head, the first game that I can think of that I was playing on a computer when I would spend the night over with my aunt and my uncle, cousin, whatever. Whenever I would spend nights over with my cousin, I started playing games on their computer. Now they were at very first, kids games. I remember there being a Blue's Clues game that I would play. But it was like, just an activity game. I don't remember too much about it other than, you just follow Blue around, do the activities. Very, very point and click. Point and click and interacting with the stuff on the screen. The game was very limited in what you could actually point and click at, so it was kind of a game of guessing what you could point and click and how you could interact with other things. I don't remember if I ever had like an ending or had like any kind of progression. I think you just did the activities. But actually before that, there was another game. I think this might actually be like one of the first games that we played on his computer when he moved out. It was a Tonka game. And again, it was one of those, point and click to interact. One of the things that you would do was paint. Oof, I'm getting poisoned. I can't do anything. Oh, wow, man. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed it in the last game, but if you run out of health, it just throws you back to the upper level with only one health point, and you can kind of try and redeem yourself here a bit. Oh, look! Oh, what the heck? Oh, that's right. They can hide. While they're hiding, they can poison all the food. Right there, gotcha. I did not remember that critter at all until I saw it just earlier. I was trying to rack my brains trying to remember what the rest of them are, but what stuck in my memory was just the first three, really, I guess. I'm pretty sure the last one's going to be the expansion. Now that I'm starting to remember more. But I don't remember what it looks like. But yeah. The Tonka game. So one of the activities was that you would get to paint like a rescue boat. And then it let you take a screenshot once you were done, and it let you print it out. And so I had fun with that. And I think that is actually one of the first games that I got to play on that computer. So I'm starting to think that it might have been a different computer entirely. Yeah, one of the other activities that you could do in that game was putting out fires, I believe, like in the building. I think it was like one of those practice buildings that firefighters used to like put out fires, but it was just a fire truck. And a fire would pop up in a window, and you'd click on it, and then the little ball of water would go to it. It was like a ball of water. Not even like a stream. It was like it was weird. Anyway, so that was one of the activities that you could do. Another of the other activities that you could do was like repairing like job sites. You know, you'd go into a scenario where it was like a zoo, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then you would have to, you know, make the enclosures and fix like the fence. There was one where like you're in a harbor and you have to fix a ship. Not sure I can remember much else about it. If there was any other activities to do, they didn't really stick to me, or I didn't really care or play them much. I vaguely remember there being maybe like a helicopter one, but I think that I had trouble with that one. It was like helping people from like a flood or something like that. That is one of the very first games I remember actually, you know, properly. I'm pretty sure I played that a lot when it was new to me. And then after that is when I think eventually my cousin got the Blue's Clues game. Oh no, not yet. The Blue's Clues game I remember even less of, I think. You know, I just remember that it was a Blue's Clues game. Oops. Going back down. Where is it? Come on, eat it. Ooh, that one looked a little different. But similar to the first one. Yeah. After the Blue's Clues game, hey, I did not do that on purpose. Dude, chill. Next game that I remember playing a lot after the Blue's Clues game was a Tigger game. I think I just remembered about this game not too long ago. I was telling one of my buddies about it, but it was a side-scrolling adventure, like Tigger game. Tigger from like the Winnie the Pooh Tigger. We did not have our own personal computer at home yet. It would be many years before we would get our own like proper computer. Leading up to that, we had several hand-me-down computers from people that didn't want them anymore. The last one I remember having at home was one that used the really large floppy disks. Like we're talking like big floppy disks. Not quite as big as a vinyl, but definitely at least 4 or 5 times bigger than your more well-known floppy disks. Anyway, so that was after this still, if I remember correctly. but it's all we had at home. So whenever I wasn't at my cousin's house, that's what we had. But yeah, so then the next game was the Tigger game. Had lots of fun with it. Again, I don't remember too much about it. I'm not sure if it followed the Tigger movie or if it was a standalone story. But the thing that I remember the most about, again, I was still very young at this point. I can't say I was in kindergarten yet. If I was, I don't remember the time of me playing these games in school coinciding. But I might have already been in kinder when I started playing these games, because I could only really spend the nights with my cousin on the weekends, Fridays and Saturdays. So I'm thinking maybe this was during like early school, kindergarten maybe. But anyway, so this Tigger game, we would always get to this one level where me and my cousin, or my cousin's daughter, we were the same age. My cousin was much older than I am, but my cousin's daughter was only a few years younger than me. She was born in 1998, so yeah, no, this had to be like 99, 2000. Stop poisoning me. But there was one level that we could not, for the life of us, figure out. Oh no, not twice. Actually, no, I think. Oh, I don't remember. Gotcha. Yeah, no, the Tigger game, there was a level that we would get stuck on because it would ask us to do like a special, and I think the game was in Spanish. If I don't remember exactly, but like the key bindings were not like written in the game, like the instructions. So instead of saying, press, X, it would say press the action button. And we're just kind of like, we got to a point where, it was a big jump that we couldn't get over, and it would just say, press the action button. And so me and my niece, cousin, second cousin, first cousin, first cousin, once removed, or whatever the nomenclature for that is. I just call her my cousin regardless. My little cousin, my cousin's daughter, my niece. And it's okay. Let's just call her my cousin, and let's call my older cousin, her dad, my uncle, since he's significantly older than I am. So my uncle's computer and his daughter, my cousin, would play the Scooby-Doo game and get stuck on that level. And then for the longest time, we could not figure out what that button was. So finally, one night, I think we complained to my aunt. And she was there trying to help us, and then eventually we figured out that it was shift that it was asking us to hold. So you would hold shift, I believe it's shift, to do the super jump. And oh my goodness, once we figured that out, we were so happy. It finally let me finish the game. But yeah, that was another early game that I remember playing before, you know, get into slightly more serious stuff. Yeah, around this time, I think, still around the same timeline, same computer. Around the time that I was playing, you know, the Tigger game, I believe, was a bit after the Tonka game and even the whatchamacallit, the Blue's Clues game and the Tonka game. Let's see. So then, another game that I would play around that time. It was more of an artsy game, more like just arts and crafts almost. It was called More Bugs in Boxes, or just Bugs in Boxes. Something like that. And, you know, oh my goodness, I don't remember too much about this game other than the painting, and then you could paint with the little bugs on like a canvas, and it had a rewind feature where it would basically, you know, show you your how your current drawing came to be. You know, starting from scratch, it would show you how it came to be. So at least I believe me and my sister, I don't know if my cousin did this too, we would fill up the screen entirely with these bugs, like one layer of one bug, and then the next layer of the next bug, so on and so forth, and we just keep doing this over and over and over and over again, just to see the screen fill up with bugs really quickly. It was very amusing for us. My gosh, I don't remember what else we would really do in that game. I'm sure there was much more that we could do. That's the only part that I can remember. Along the same lines, there was like a Mr. Potato Head game. Oh my goodness, we're already at the bottom. Oh my gosh. Not yet, no. So it was a Mr. Potato Head game that was basically along the same lines, but just everything was Mr. Potato Head. You know, you could dress him up, change his colors. No! Why is it not listening to me? Ah, there you go. It's very fast now, and pretty hard to turn and get it right where you want it to. There you go. Anyway. Yeah, it was a Mr. Potato Head game. That one I hardly ever played, I think. Not nearly as much as the other ones. Yeah, back to the game itself. It looks like our next creature is definitely that one scorpion looking thing. If I remember correctly, the special on that one is you basically become invisible. But you also slow down it, but at the same time poisoning anything that touches you while you're in quote-unquote invisible. Oh man, this is gonna be hard to do without getting the egg. Yep. Just eat it all. Alright, well, I guess that concludes this episode. I hope you enjoyed me talking about my early gaming life. I mean, I guess I can continue this topic on my next video. And hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.